Your sister was kidnapped by an international gang of white slavers.
You've got to be kidding.
Just look at her. She's perfect. This really feels right. Now, come on.
Margaret, we should just go.
She's in Africa.
Let me guess. You and the, urinator of Reamer are going to rescue her.
It's Remo, the Destroyer. And he works for somebody else.
Oh, yeah?
Pinnacle.
Oh.
Stand up. Can you handle an adventure?
I've never had one before. I don't mean to be rude, but I don't read your books. My grandfather does, though. He's a big fan. If you know so much about this, which it seems you do, why do you need me to go with you?
Sometimes you do things the hard way.
Why?
Reads better.
This is the emergency podcast system. This is not a test. Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may already be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own. Do not panic. Specialists have been dispatched. They will help you identify these pretenders and defend you against this invasion of the remake. Please stand by for further instructions.
Welcome to the Invasion of the Remake podcast. I'm your host, Jason Bishop, and with me today, as always, is Step Sam.
Step Sam.
I thought it would be a little cooler, smoother, because we're doing a movie called Jake Speed. So, Step Sam.
Step Sam? I'll go with it.
Sam the Stepinator.
Step on your ankle.
Step an ankle.
It's never going to work.
It's never going to work. How about Trish Coughlin? What do you got?
Oh, God, I don't know. I hadn't realized I have to come up with my own special name. Trish Firefox. I don't know. I'm just looking at my browser.
Trish Firefox. you're like that guy who gets cornered and has to come up with a name. Jason Laundry Basket.
Yes. Fish Table.
Sam Notebook. We can go with it.
Okay, Sam Notebook. Today we're going to be talking about Jake Speed. I did warn you last week. I was not kidding. We are doing Jake Speed from 1986. And it is everything I was expecting. Kind of awful, but kind of fun.
But kind of fun, yeah. It is terrible in all the best ways.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It really had some great concept ideas and not much beyond that, to be honest.
I really wish they'd have done more with that whole underlying conceit with all these 70s and 80s pulp novel characters being part of this world.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to have Jake Speed and you're going to name drop Mac Bolan and Remo Williams and
Doc Savage.
Even Doc Savage, one of the seniors. He's retired now.
Yeah, which was really witty.
Yeah, which is great because we have actually covered Doc Savage. So if you haven't listened to that episode, might be a good primer for this one. And we have also done Remo Williams.
Yes, we have, yeah.
So, hey, is there a Mac Bolan movie?
There might be.
I feel like now we just need to finish it.
Yeah. Or we just make our own Mac Bolan movie. We could read a Mac Bolan book, and just start from scratch.
Yeah.
That would be a new conceit.
Yeah, so this is kind of interesting because you've got that adventure hero from those pulp novels, and the way they come up with their novels is to actually do it. God forbid you have an imagination.
Yes.
They just don't.
So they have to actually go on the adventures to inspire the novel, which seems awfully time consuming.
Well, I mean, that goes back to those old Western penny novels,
yeah, that's
right?
what I was thinking too.
Yeah, is they just took that and went, okay, let's do that here.
Yeah. Which I mean, I love this idea, but now the idea of the pulp adventure novel's gotten kind of old. I doubt a whole lot of kids know what Mac Bolan and Remo Williams the Destroyer are. I mean, are they even making those books anymore?
The Remo Williams, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know about the Mac Bolans.
Oh, those have been going my entire life.
Yeah.
My dad was reading all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they're still out there. Are people actually reading them? Who knows? But I still like the idea.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of am struggling with, okay, we're going to have to remake this, but I'm not sure it's relevant anymore. So we're going to have to kind of reinvent the conceit somewhat and have one idea that steps a little far away from the concept and kind of rejiggers it for the internet age, and another one that just kind of like, well, what's the next step?
Yeah, and it is tough because that's, in my mind, the best part of the movie, and we do actually, you're right, it not necessarily going to work for a modern audience.
Yeah, that's the tricky part. Like, my favorite part of the idea is something I might have to scrap.
Yeah, but you have to replace it with something that's equally as relevant.
No, compelling, I think, is more accurate.
Something that, ties it all together, because I like the idea of his partner being the writer and in some ways the actual hero of the story.
Yeah, it's really interesting. This movie starts with a kidnapping. Well, it was a kidnapping that didn't actually happen, and then two other girls kind of pass by, keeping the other women that they were stalking from getting kidnapped.
Yeah.
And it's a whole thing. So this woman's sister gets kidnapped, and the father, not so subtly, drops a name. Well, you should call Jake Speed. And then, of course, they find out, oh, he's just a novel character. An old man, what was his name? Pop Winston. He must be nuts.
He must be nuts.
And then Jake Speed comes looking for her. Everything's so convenient in this. Like, there's no real explanation as to how things work. Everybody's really does feel like they're out of a bad novel, even though it's supposed to be in the real world.
And that's what I loved about it, is it did feel like it was from a bad novel, right? Because all of the convenient setups and all the sort of tropey things that are happening, like the Civil War in the country they're in, and how conveniently they transition from one part of the adventure to the next, even though he doesn't ever really do anything heroic.
Not really, no. It's like thrown out of a bar. And I mean, this movie really is trying to capitalize on the adventure films, the kind of pulpy adventure films of the era that were made popular because of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a ton of them from that era. We got like Sky Pirates from 1986, King Solomon's Mines from 1985, its sequel, Alan Quatermain and the Lost City of Gold from 86, which gave us Sharon Stone, by the way, Jewel of the Nile, 1985, Nathan Hayes from 1983, Motherlode from 1982, and Treasure of the Four Crowns from 1983, just to name a small portion.
Yes.
And Romancing the Stone from 84, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them were a lot of fun. Like Romancing the Stone, I still like it.
It holds up.
Right? It does hold up.
I watched it recently.
And it's funny.
It still holds up.
It's funny because, I mean, we've talked on the show before about how for some reason I just disliked Michael Douglas, even though I like his movies, that I just like him, but I'm starting to warm up now. We watched something else with him in it, and I'm like, why don't I like him?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had that problem with him.
Yeah.
I like Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like all of his movies, but I like Michael Douglas usually in whatever I see him in.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I like all of his movies, but I like a lot of them, enough of them. Like, I mean, Basic Instinct, I can pass on. Fatal Attraction, I can pass on.
Black Rain, though.
Black Rain, so good.
Yeah.
War of the Roses is really good.
The Game.
Oh, The Game. I like The Game a lot.
And Falling Down has got to be one of the classics of the late 90s.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but we're not talking Michael Douglas.
No, sidetracked. Sorry. Kind of like this movie. Hey, we're going this way. Oh no, now we're going this way.
It really does feel like that because the transitions from scene to scene are like hitting brick walls.
Yeah.
There's no real subtlety to them. You're like, oh, we're here now. Okay.
Oh, I rewound it.
Yeah, I kept thinking I was missing stuff. I'm like, did I nod off?
Nope,
what happened? No, that's just the way it went.
Yep. Yeah, and the funny thing is there's some things they did really well. Like they keep talking about Harv.
Yeah.
Right? And then
his armored vehicle from the novel.
Yeah.
Oh, Harv is coming.
Yes. Yeah. And then when it does come, it actually to their detriment.
Yeah, it says it's dropped through the roof. And you're like, who dropped that?
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? Why aren't they helping? Like, there's so much of that sort of thing. I mean, we've got Jake Speed, who's come to help this woman find her sister from these white slavers and rescue her, but screw the rest of them.
Yeah.
Like, all the other women that have been kidnapped, meh.
Yeah.
Never mind. I mean, there were 2 kidnapped at the same time, and we do see her for a little bit, and then she's just gone.
Yep.
Yep.
What happened to her? Did she die? What happened? Did she escape on her own? Because that seemed like the smart move. Don't hang with Jake Speed.
Yeah. Either you're not getting away or you're getting away dead.
Yeah. And you've got the over-the-top villain with the collapsing stairs into a pit of lions, which replaces the snakes.
Yes.
From Indiana Jones. He even has the I don't like lions. I don't like snakes. I don't like lions.
Said he didn't like knives at one point.
At least Jake Speed and the villain really talk like they're underdeveloped cardboard characters.
Yes.
I mean, you've got Margaret, the character, Karen Coppins, constantly asking him, like, why do you want to do this? Because it's good for the novel.
Yes.
Like, there's no real explanation for anything that he's doing.
Yeah.
And every time he's asked, he's like, well, who are you? Well, read volume 1. It's all in there.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, that was in volume 12. And that was funny. That was funny to me.
Yeah.
Right.
But it just, the joke never breaks.
No.
Ever.
No. And you know what? In this particular case, it probably shouldn't, because it is the movie, is this fictional character. But there's that rule of 3s, and you can beat a joke to death too, right?
Well, because of it, there's nothing to hang your hat on, right? Like, there's no character growth. I feel like this character's in it for himself just to get another book out, and they've picked her because she's pretty and is going to make a great heroine or woman in distress or whatever for the book. And the character of Jake Speed never grows out of that selfishness.
No, but neither does Indiana Jones.
I suppose, but he's actually likable.
Yes. And that's where the problem is we have to make this character likable. And, you know, and if we're upfront in our version that's exactly why they picked her, because she would be appealing to their audience, then it works.
I like the reasoning behind it, but I feel like we need to see progressions of a human being there at some point where he actually makes decisions that are the right decisions, not for being ratings or book sales or whatever, but because it's right as a human being.
As a hero, right? Not motivated by, well, sell a book, but is it the right thing to do? And I do get that.
Yeah, and I think that's something integral to whatever we're going to do for our remake.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that.
Trish, what do you think?
I agree with that. You're right. There is no arc. I think what they were trying to do in the original is they said, like, he wasn't going to take money for this job. It was just so he could get the story for the book. And I think that was what they were hanging their hat on, that he's a quote unquote Boy Scout. And it didn't really come through.
Yeah. I mean, when you have to say you're a Boy Scout, you know, the character calls you a Boy Scout. Oh, isn't that refreshing? Okay. You know, prove it.
Yep.
You know,
right? Show, not tell.
Yeah. Prove it. You're saying it, not doing it, and most of the time you're running away from things. Or
and let's talk about his plan. His plan to get to the white slavers. We're going to sell her. Without telling her we're going to sell her.
Yeah. That might have been crucial information. I mean, that was kind of funny, but I mean, considering it's white slavery you're selling her into, that's kind of gross at the same time. You're a terrible human being, Jake Speed.
Yes. Yeah. And
exactly.
Not letting her know. It's like, well, so you've pulled me from where I'm comfortable into this unnamed country. I have no idea what's going on. You want me to trust you, and then you try to fucking sell me?
Yes. And the whole time also I'm thinking, oh, we'll just follow them back. I'm like, what happens if you lose them? You lose her.
Yeah.
Are you stupid?
And if this is a whole like group of organized crime, you're not Chuck Norris.
No,
maybe he's supposed to be, but
maybe he's supposed to be. Yeah, and you know, now that I'm thinking about it, there is a parallel to this in Last Action Hero.
Oh yeah, yeah,
right? And they weren't even that far apart, to be honest with you.
Oh no.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
87 for Last Action Hero.
No, it was early
later.
90s, like 92, 93.
Yeah,
I think,
Oh, 92. Sorry.
Yeah.
But maybe that's where we lean into it, is we
Yeah, but Last Action Hero was also a dud.
Yes. Unfortunately.
I have 2 ideas here, and I'm going to let everybody know after the trailer.
When no one can stop the terror. When everyone looks the other way. You need someone you can count on. You need a hero. You need Jake Speed.
Your sister's kidnapped by an international gang of white slavers.
A paperback hero.
Characters in books like that, they're not real.
A living legend.
Sounds nice, huh?
He took a woman from L.A.
And you handled an adventure.
I've never had one before.
to an Africa on the verge of revolution.
If you think I'm going to come into that room, Mr. Speed, you've got another thing coming. This will be fun.
In a lawless land, he's taking on a lawless man.
You know who he is?
I lie. We go way back. I killed Vector. Volume 2. What do you say? 25 grand?
He's part man,
Now what do you think, huh?
I think we're in big trouble.
Oh, darn.
part myth,
If you're such a big deal, why haven't they ever made a movie?
a hero,
Beats the hell out of 10 to victims.
and a gentleman to the end.
Are you sure you're trying your best?
Jake Speed always plays by the book.
Sometimes you do things the hard way.
Why?
Reads better.
Is he real?
You stinking rotten rat!
Rat! I'm the last original nice guys.
Or is he fiction? Jake Speed is both.
You're a Boy Scout. Refreshing, isn't it?
Jake Speed.
Don't be a sore loser.
For anyone who's ever wanted a hero to believe in.
All right, that was the trailer for Jake Speed from 1986. This was written and starring Wayne Crawford as Jake Speed and directed and also co-written by Andrew Lane. Now, if those names are familiar, we told you just last week when we did Valley Girl in episode 376. Where were you? Where were you? What's your excuse? None.
Going back and listening now, that's where they were.
Yeah.
Yes.
You didn't miss it. We know you didn't miss it because you love us. This also stars Dennis Christopher as Desmond Floyd. He is the writer and best buddy,
And
BFF.
Sancho, and
Yeah, the guy with the book.
Yes.
And then writing in the notes in the bushes. That's Dennis Christopher as Desmond Lloyd. And he was in the It TV series and Freaky Links. He had a recurring role in Freaky Links, and you can also catch him in Django Unchained.
And arguably, I don't want to say the best performance, but probably the most subdued performance in the whole movie, too.
Yeah. I mean, the most interesting one was John Hurt,
Oh.
but we'll get there. Karen Coppins was Margaret Winston, aka Maggie, in the movie. She was in Once Bitten with Jim Carrey.
Yeah, and that was probably her
It's exactly
biggest
where I
role.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Hurt was Sid. This is the really over-the-top villain.
Oh, he was twirling that mustache so hard.
Oh, my God.
And it was
giving him whiplash.
I was having so much fun with it because he knew what he was in. And he's like, I'm just going to have some fun.
Yeah, they probably only had him for a week because he doesn't show up till well into an hour into the movie.
Yeah.
Just
Last half hour.
yeah. And of course, everybody knows John Hurt from like Alien, and he was in a Doctor Who late in his career for the
1984.
50th, and King Ralph was episode
239.
Yeah, we talked about King Ralph. Leon Ames was Pop Winston, and we talked about him briefly in episode 107.
Absent-Minded Professor was the one he was in, and it was also Flubber.
Yes. Roy London was Maurice, and he was in Rampage and Diary of a Hitman. He directed that. Donna Pascal was Wendy. She was in Saturday Night Fever and the Flash television series, the new one.
I recognized her right away. I couldn't remember what I recognized her from, but I'm like, I've seen her in stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
She's that person I saw in a lot of things in the 80s.
Yes.
That actress we saw in that thing that one time?
Yeah.
There we
in
go.
the many things that many times.
Barry Primus was Lawrence, and he's been in some stuff. The stuff that was in with De Niro, like Righteous Kill and The Irishman.
Everybody's got to start somewhere.
De Niro movies are a good place to start.
Yep.
And end, apparently. Because Irishman was not that long ago.
No, exactly. It's like bookending a career, right?
Right. Monty Markham was Mr. Winston. This would have been the father of Margaret. And he was in We Are Still Here and episode 148, Piranha. I think the middle Piranha. Like the...
Oh, the TV one?
Yeah, the TV one. Millie Perkins was Mrs. Winston, and she was in Wall Street and Slam Dance.
Speaking of Michael Douglas.
I was thinking that too.
Rebecca Harrison was Maureen Winston, and she's mainly known for television series like His Mistress was a TV movie, Breaker was a TV movie. She did several episodes of The Love Boat.
As you do.
As you do, especially in the 70s.
Yeah.
70s and 80s. Love Boat.
I don't know the song anymore. I used to know it off by heart. I was a kid.
Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you.
The Love Boat.
You notice that I did not sing there.
Alan Shearman was Rodrigo, and this is the last one I'm going to name. He was in Escape from New York.
Such a good movie. For what it was, it's a good movie.
You know, I've seen it multiple times, and I always want to like it, and I never do.
No, you know,
I keep giving it one more chance.
You like Snake, but the rest of the movie isn't so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still way better than Escape from LA.
Yes.
Yeah.
John, what were you thinking?
Okay, so I have a couple of ideas of how to repackage this thing. The first one I'm not really crazy about is, well, the next step from a pulp novel would be comic books. And really the last thing you want to do is turn them into a superhero.
Well, you don't have to turn him into a superhero, but you'd still have to have some sort of like dark universe to sort of drop him into then. Like, I mean, you can't drop him into like something like the Hellblazer universe.
No, but you know, it'd be like, I would say like whatever made up version of Batman is kind of what we probably would go with. Now, personally, the idea that I like more, and I'll let you guys pick and maybe you have an idea of your own of which direction to go here. I was thinking maybe this guy's like a YouTube star. Like, he goes on these things and he's going for the views, and it's that pretentious, look at me, look at all the fabulous things I'm doing because I'm here to save you. Catchphrase is the whole bit. Everything's on camera. That's what Des does. He's the cameraman.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, almost too on the nose. I kind of, bear with me here, but what if he is like a pulp novel character, but the problem is nobody's buying pulp novels anymore. So you could still keep that same conceit, but you add more depth to it because now he's struggling because nobody's buying these novels. It doesn't matter what adventures he goes on. He's not getting the likes, the views, the sales. Right.
Okay, well, I mean, this is a neat idea, actually, where we can have Desmond seek her out, and he's like broke, living on the streets because the world doesn't believe in him anymore.
And she's a social media star.
And she can get his name back out
she's
there.
She's an influencer, and that's why he seeks her out. Now we have motivation to get her, too.
Right. Oh, that's going to be tricky because that makes her the vapid one, the egomaniac, the one that...
Well, that's where you guys fun. You have these...
They have to pull each other into the middle, I guess.
Exactly.
Where you've got one who's fallen so far, and then the other one that needs to be reined back in.
Just like Romancing the Stone. They were two egomaniacal batten heads because they were both kind of self-centered, go their own way kind of people, and they had to reach that middle ground to reach their final goal. Right, so it does work. It can work.
Oh, boy. What if she's the one that hires Sid to kidnap her sister because she wanted views? And she gets reined in by Desmond for this big rescue, and she's like, oh, this is going to be great for my channel. And she was already had this thing. It was like, oh, look at me, world. Oh, boo-hoo, I've lost my sister.
I don't think we need to have her hire him, but I can see definitely focus on her capitalizing on it to get that sympathy and views. Because we don't want to move from completely unsympathetic to out and out evil.
Well, no, yeah, but I was thinking later on, like he rescues the sister And
She outs her?
yeah, just outs her, like destroys her, gets her canceled, the whole bit, destroys her on live on her social media.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with Sam on this. We've got to have. I mean, I don't mind getting the rug pulled out, but this kind of feels like a slap in the face if this is your lead.
If you've been following your lead all along and all of a sudden now she's reprehensible and unlikable and
Yeah, but you don't know that until the end.
Yeah, that's true. But at the end, like Tricia said, it's like pulling the rug out. Oh, by the way, you weren't supposed to like this bitch.
I want to have that tease of the hero always gets the girl, right? Except it's not the girl you think he's getting.
In order for that to work, you'd have to see more with her sister then.
Yes, you would.
Yeah, Maureen has to be
the
one at the end. Where...
Yeah, no, you have to have, we'll have to cut away from those characters, which God would make, I don't know, a transition?
Heaven forbid.
God forbid we teach them how to make a transition in this movie.
Well, and that would give Sid a lot more to do too, right? Because, I mean, he just shows up at the end with no real explanation.
Yeah.
Right? I'm kind of warming up to the idea now.
And then if he's playing the pulp villain or whatever, and it's just fake for views, he's playing into a character.
And then the mustache twirling and all that stuff works even better.
And then you can use it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Mandarin in Iron Man, isn't it? Mostly?
Yeah, kind of, I guess. I'm thinking, I'm leaning towards like adventure comedy with a little bit of romance.
And my director totally leans into that, so.
Nice.
Well, actually, maybe even better now that we've done what we've done.
Yes, I said adventure, romance, and comedy. Oh, no.
Yeah, you're walking that line, Jay.
You had adventure in there.
I did, so I'm using that to split up the words.
Yeah.
I see you.
Well, I like things like Romancing the Stone and Jewel of the Nile. Yeah. I mean, I think
they're so good.
And Indiana Jones had some of that in there too, and I like the idea. I mean, think about it too. The Last Crusade, the femme fatale, the girl that's on the side, wound up being the bad guy.
Yeah.
So, well, and it's not like we haven't done this before.
And we're trying to break the formula a little bit too, right? Mm-hmm. By having the girl that we're following all along be complicit in what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really warming up to it now. As long as Maureen gets a lot more to do.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of commentary here about fake people.
Yeah.
You know, one's going fake for views and trying to be the social media star. The other one's trying to get his status back.
He's trying to be as real as possible. There's actually a nice
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm looking for. Comparison, where you're juxtaposition. That's what I was looking for. Where you've got the one girl who's so fake that she doesn't know who the real her is. And then you have one guy who is so real that he can't do anything with it anymore. He is a real hero. And I was visioning him playing it very, very straight. Like, all the fun happens around him. He's just like, I'm the superhero square-jawed man, right? Like, just have him play it really straight.
Mm-hmm. Even though he doesn't get his adventures anymore, he still has that effect on people around him, too. Like, he walks into a bar, everybody buys him a drink.
Yeah, exactly.
And she'd be like, how the hell do you do that? It just happens.
Yes, because I'm a hero.
And because that's what this movie does, too. There's a lot of, I'm a hero, I do this is how things work. There is no explanation to any of it.
And I love that because it does so much lean into those pulp novels where it's like, we don't have to explain to you why it works. It just does.
Yeah, it just does. It happens a lot. It just does. Read the book.
Yeah.
And he gets so upset about it, too. It's like, just read it.
Yeah. And that's why it would be funny if he was playing more of that sort of, instead of the sly winky guy like he was in the original, he plays it straight. It's like, read the book. That's how it works. Like, it's completely disingenuous.
Yeah.
I think that would be funnier, actually.
And it'd be like, okay, he'd mention Harv, do the same gag with Harv, and she'd be like, well, where did that come from? It just happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
But from where? Who brought that? Where is it? I didn't hear a helicopter. What's going on here?
Didn't hear a plane. We didn't hear anything. It just crashed.
Yeah. Yeah. It turns out this dude just has these weird rally warping powers and believes himself to be this pulp hero of Jake Speed.
Yeah. The only time where that came back really nicely was at the end where he says, well, we said it was going to happen, so now it's going to happen. Right? When they said they would meet again.
Yeah.
I like the way they wrapped it all up into that moment.
Yeah. I want to believe that this film is about mental illness. And you've got these two opposites that know each other really well. I'm the good guy. I'm the bad guy. I could do anything I want except
win.
You know, except excel at anything.
Yeah. And I want Sid to
Oh my
be...
God. It's at a certain point you could have it. I'm the bad guy. So at this point, I have to tell you the whole plan.
Yeah. And I want Sid to be a recurring villain for Jake. Like, he shouldn't be just a random villain. He's somebody that's popped up before in Jake's stories. Right?
Oh, they do mention that they've met each other before.
Yeah, I
think it was novel 12 or something. Yeah. I didn't jot it down, but he does mention that, like, we've tangled before.
Yeah, yeah. It's such a throwaway line, and I think that sort of...
Well, yeah. I mean, it's there, so you don't have to have a who are you scenario.
Yeah.
Jake Speed, we meet again.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was lovely because it fit into the story. Again, like, the more we talk about this movie, the more I loved it because it is exactly the way those pulp novels work.
Hey, I sold this on being apeshit. I only ever saw the trailer when I sold this to you guys, and it delivered. Yeah. It is bonkers.
It is bonkers. Sorry, Jake, wherever you are out there. You ain't no hero. You're one lucky fucker is what you are.
I didn't see the need where they're shooting in California, they're shooting in Paris, they're shooting in Zimbabwe. This movie isn't good enough to be traveling all over the place. Like, they must have spent a lot of money on travel.
It's been ridiculous. And I was thinking the same thing, like when the opening scene, and it was Paris. There's no question to my mind that was Paris.
Yeah. And it was Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Like,
right. And it's like, this is a backlot film.
Yeah, this all should be on a backlot and sets. And they might have actually broke even. God forbid. I don't know what they were thinking.
I don't either. I think they figured that they would capitalize on that moment in cinema history where this type of adventure film was really popular.
Yeah, but if you're not showing us the lusciousness of these locales and the grandeur of Paris and having a nice helicopter shot or whatever, then what the fuck are you even doing?
Oh, look, a street view. Oh, look, a big dirty plane.
Yeah, like, show me a landmark for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? You could dress a set in an alleyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't make sense. They did spend a lot of money on that.
You want Paris? Go and stay in the States and go to the French Quarter. New Orleans, man. Good pass for Paris.
Yeah. Or, hey, you want to save some money and film in Canada? Go to Quebec City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all there. But regardless, I mean, they did what they did. One thing that I don't think we need, I mean, it was a device, but it didn't serve any purpose, is that whole Civil War.
Oh, yeah. It was just there.
Just made it messier.
Yeah, it was just there because you only had John Hurt for a couple of days, so you needed to create other narratives of Jake Speed and Margaret, Maggie, running around dodging explosions and running away from guerrilla warfare. And I mean, that was probably the realest part of the movie.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Because a lot of that's still going on today in parts of Africa, and it's very, very dangerous and pretty awful for the people who live there. But
didn't they mention at one point where they're saying, like, oh yeah, no, Civil War, that makes sense. That's pretty right for what we're doing.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. It worked for the book.
They explain away.
Yeah, which, I mean, do we need something bigger to wrap around here? Because we've got this mustache-twirling villain who's playing into a role. How much of the story needs to develop, or how much is being made up by which parties?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It all makes sense. The whole Civil War would make sense if he was selling guns to one side. That's all you need to add to it.
Oh, no, both sides.
He would be selling to both sides for sure.
He would be selling to both sides.
Yeah, I don't know if the slavery thing has to come into it because we never see buyers.
Well, you do at the beginning.
Oh, that's true. There were some of those couple of guys.
Yeah.
And then he kills one of them.
You don't kill your customer base.
Right. I'm told that all the time in retail. Don't kill your customers. I'm like, okay.
Tempting as it might be.
Right?
Fine. All these rules.
I don't want them to come back anyway. Can I do it then?
Yeah, anybody who's ever worked in customer service probably has a few of those.
But really, can I just have one?
Yeah.
I think, if he's playing both sides of the field, selling armaments and weapons and stuff like that, then the Civil War makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then it serves a purpose within the context of the story.
Well, and Maggie, she could be double-crossed. Maybe that's how it comes out. You know, they finally get to the end game, and she's trying to get her views, and he's like, I'm the bad guy. Of course I'm double-crossing you.
Yes. Yeah, and like
Exactly.
lean into that mustache twirling villain again. Like, just have some fun with that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and Maureen, you know what? Maybe we have those moments where she's interacting with Sid to give Sid more time as well as that villain.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? We have her attempting to escape, show her as the stronger one.
Yeah,
all
the
along.
sister, that's been captured is constantly being a thorn in Sid's side, but he has to keep her alive.
Yeah. And actually, both actresses I cast actually are exactly the same age, oddly enough.
Mine are pretty close. One can pass as a slightly younger sister by a few years.
Why not make them non-fraternal twins or fraternal twins, whatever? You're a twin,
I mean, they can be twins. They cannot be twins. It doesn't matter. I don't think that makes any difference whatsoever. If they're, a few years in age, its difference isn't going to make any difference to the story.
That's true. I just because mine are both the same age, I wanted it to be twins.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think there's maybe 2-3 years parting between mine, so it doesn't matter. But if you want them to be twins, Sam, they could be twins.
They're twins, right? Well, then you have your good one and your bad one, right?
Yeah. I'm liking the direction we've gone because it plays totally into my sisters because they are both retardedly hot.
Actually, yeah.
But I was going for something like this anyway because at least from my point of view, it was more the case of how this will play for an audience, right?
Yeah.
So you need that attract. I don't know why a book would need that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they would come out like, oh, look how attractive she is. I guess she did become a book cover, so.
Yeah, she did, yeah. Yeah, but I like the way that, making her, the reason for her to get there is because she's an influencer. And then you can still have those fun throwaway references to the other pulp stars like Remo and Doc Savage and Mac Bolan. And she can always go, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know who any of those people are.
Yeah.
Do they have a channel?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. What's their Instagram?
Yeah.
Do they have a TikTok?
Yeah.
How many subscribers do they have? How many followers do they have?
Yeah, exactly. How many followers do these people have? I don't see them.
It would be even funnier if like one of them actually did have like a TikTok page or an Instagram channel. Because if any of them do, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a Remo fan page somewhere, or fan channel somewhere.
Remo Williams.
Yeah.
Doc Savage. Mac Bolan. These all sound like porn stars.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Because then we can acknowledge the fact that they are an outdated cultural reference.
Yeah.
But still make it funny.
Yeah, because, I mean, we're going for comedy here as well as the fun action stuff.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a little more comedic than, say, an Indiana Jones movie. But
Yeah.
What's that one that was recently out where you had the author and her cover model?
Oh, the one with Sandra Bullock.
That was it.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but
yeah, which was pretty good too. And I guess it's kind of got the flavor we're going for here.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
yeah. Or Romancing the Stone, as we keep going back to.
Yeah, because I mean that's now that we're thinking about it, is the best parallel to the direction we're going. We're updating it and making it about Jake Speed, but
Jake Speed.
Really, were you a porn star? No, he's Chad Kroger. Chad Kroger is a fucking Highlander.
Yes.
I kind of see it. I kind of see it.
Yeah.
I saw somebody else in there too, which completely informed my casting choice. But
wow. Okay.
Did you make him Chad Kroger?
I almost did.
Can he act? I don't know.
I don't know if he ever has, but I almost did. But no, because I don't see Chad Kroger as a strong jaw action hero type. Yeah, I didn't go with him.
I didn't see Wayne Crawford that way either. Unfortunately.
Neither did I. Which is why I went specifically for that type of actor.
Well, to be fair, Chad Kroger doesn't have to be a great actor to be in this. He just has to be the straight guy.
I actually went deliberately with a hero that's going to be rough, gruff, and grizzled, like a pulp hero is, and then had the pretty girls, because Des kind of needs that. You're not very attractive, Jake, so we need somebody out there. You exude sexual appeal because you're a tough guy, but, you know, you're not going to sell books just based on you.
That's fair.
Only if you got a big gun.
Yeah.
And we know what that means.
And my God, that gun. I kept looking at it and going like, I've shot a shotgun, but I don't know how much damage it does.
That looked like an elephant gun.
Well, they made a
Right?
point of saying that it is the most powerful gun ever made.
Yeah, that's right. They get captured and they're escaping, and he goes back because he actually has a nickname for it.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to go back for. It's just a gun. We can get another one. No, I want that one. Yeah, I feel like the movie would have been more successful if just had somebody who had that charm.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if he hadn't been so vain as to cast himself in the role.
Yeah. Maybe that's to keep the budget down, but it just certainly didn't help with a $5 million budget.
No, and $2 million of that was travel.
Yeah, well, and it made just under $2 million worldwide, so not great, and most of it in the first week.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you, even in the 80s, Jake Speed screamed knockoff to me.
Oh, yeah, this screamed in theaters for 1 week and then off to video.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. Like, this was just to fill the smallest theater in the multiplex.
Yeah, and it probably came out in February during the quietest months.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a Canon film. You're like, I had that Canon film feel.
Well, wasn't it New World?
It was New World, so that would have been...
So it wasn't Canon, but it feels like Canon.
Yeah.
Well, New World and Canon were very similar.
New World was a Corman company.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
For a long time anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, they were famous for the same type of films as Canon.
Yeah, right. New World actually owned Marvel Comics for a little while, people. I don't know if you know that, but before they became a public company, New World owned them, and that's when you've got like the really cheesy Captain America with the rubber ears, the Matt Salinger one, and what else came out? The Punisher one with Dolph Lundgren.
Which wasn't that bad, it just shouldn't have been a Punisher movie.
Yeah. It was a half decent, well, one of these, really. Yeah. He might as well have been called Jake Speed, and it would have been a better movie.
Yep.
Yep.
Just wasn't the Punisher. But yeah, that era of New World, that was right around this time. Well, that was a little more 90s, but near the end of New World's life.
Yeah. Did they do that Fantastic Four movie that never came out?
Yeah, that would have been New World as well.
Yeah.
I have seen it, though. I like it. I'm like, this wasn't even that bad.
Yeah, sometimes they just never see. Well, apparently it has seen the light of day, just never gets a release, right?
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to add to the plot of this movie before we move on to some casting?
Okay, let's see.
We kind of ditched the best friend. We haven't really used her that much. Like, I didn't even bother casting her.
No, I didn't. No, you know what? I cast 6 people for that reason, because most of them are just sort of, they're there to move what story there was along. Like, the best friend doesn't really serve any purpose aside to be there as a support.
Neither did most of the family. It's like, do we need the parents? I kind of wanted to keep a grandparent there because I just kind of liked the idea of somebody trying to ground her a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what? I love the fact that it's like, especially Grandpa would be into the pulp novels and go, you should call Jake Speed, right?
Yeah. Well, I actually made it a grandmother.
Either way, but yeah. I didn't cast them. If you get less than 15 minutes of screen time, I'm not casting you.
Yeah, well, and generally no, but I'm like, oh, this would be fun to see this person in doing this because it'd be some good comedic moments.
And that's the only other reason to cast them, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just cast sort of our key characters. I almost didn't cast Maureen, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah, no, I was battling between 2 people for Margaret, and I'm like, well, I'll make the other one the sister.
Yeah. And then I also cast Sid's brother because I liked that dynamic, and I wanted to see more of that.
Sid's brother. Oh, yes. That was Maurice.
Yeah.
He was very mad about the carpet.
I did cast Maurice. I did actually cast Maurice.
I did, because I love that idea where like he's kind of the one person that Sid can't really kill or do anything with because it's his brother.
Well, and I love the fact they set him up as kind of like this smarmy, asexual type of character. And then when he does the murder, you're like, oh, I did not see that coming.
Yeah,
like,
I actually wanted Sid to be, in my version, I want Sid to be the mustache-twirling villain and the brother to be a real fucking psychopath that he has to constantly rein in. No, you can't pull out her toenails yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like that idea, yeah. But I also like the scene where he gets obsessed with the blood on the carpet. I think that would be a funny juxtaposition. I can use the word again. Sort of, you have him like completely psychopathic and violent, but gets pissed off about little things like stains on the carpet.
Mm-hmm. I totally keep that. Yeah. And I deliberately cast somebody who could fly off the handle.
I had fun with my casting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure about my casting for Maurice. I actually don't know what I was thinking.
Well,
Mine will work if you really think about it.
well, we've let into this enough. So, Sam, let's find out what you were thinking.
Okay, let's see what I was thinking.
Let's dig into this.
Okay.
Let's analyze him, Trish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Via's casting.
Okay. So for my Jake Speed, I went with Alexander Ludwig because, like I said, I was going for the square-jawed straight man. I think he'd be great in that role. And he can look pretty rough, but he is pretty handsome.
Okay, remind me.
Vikings, he was in The Hunger Games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and he was in Night Teeth. He was like the weird guy, the weird hippie guy. At the
Yes.
I totally remember him now.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's versatile too. And he's big. Like he's just really sort of imposing. So I wanted an action hero. I figured he'd be a good choice for that. For my Margaret, I went with Willa Holland from the Arrow TV series. She's perfect. And the age gap isn't quite as noticeable. So I figured that would probably be a little more comfortable as well. Mm-hmm. For my Desmond, because I wanted somebody who's a great counterbalance to our square-jawed hero, I went with Donald Glover.
Oh my God, he shows up in mine too. Not the same role, but...
For my Maureen, I went with Suki Waterhouse.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying her in Daisy Jones and the Six, by the way.
Oh, I haven't started it yet.
It's so good. Just saying. For my Sid, I went with Andy Serkis because he would have so much fun. Just
damn it. That's who I did too. Yeah. I did Andy Serkis as well. It's weird that we both saw him.
No, it's not. I mean, he's perfect.
He is perfect.
For my Maurice, I actually went with Jason Scott Lee. Yes, they don't look like brothers, and I wanted that on purpose. It's like, well, you can't be brothers because they're clearly of different races, right?
I
but
thought
at that
about
point,
doing
they could
that.
be like, "Don't be so fucking racist.
Yeah.
He's my brother."
I thought about doing that. I thought that might have been a step too far. I mean, so many shows have done that now.
Yeah, I know, and but I also figured, you know what? Why not? Because I like Jason Scott Lee, and I wanted to cast him in something.
And I'm fine with it.
And then,
I went the opposite direction.
And then for my director, I went with Paul Feig, who did Spy.
Nice.
Because if you want somebody who's going to do action comedy, he's pretty much nailed that.
Yeah, Spy was good. I mean, I can't say everything he's done is gold, but that was pretty good.
Yeah, no, but that's the one that kind of inspired me to go with him, though.
I love Spy.
Jason Statham is so funny in it, while being the straight man, much like in Jake Speed, that we want.
All right, Trish, why don't you give us your list?
All right. So I went kind of a different way because I didn't know I was going into the comedy as well. So for Jake Speed, I actually put Donald Glover because I wanted people to think, oh yeah, they're not going to buy the books because he's not this big imposing guy. So I thought that would be kind of interesting.
Well, if you're hiring a painter, you could make Jake Speed look any way you want them to.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah, on the covers, he looks like Idris Elba.
Yes, that's it.
That would be funny.
That would be so great. And then for my Desmond Floyd, I went with Hassan Minhaj, who's done stuff on The Daily Show, and he's a comedian. And I think he'd just be a good counterbalance.
Very funny.
Yes. And you might enjoy this. For my Margaret Winston, I went with Jessica Roth.
Well, I might as well go back to last week, right?
Yeah. Well, I was like, you know what? I want to see her do stuff in an action movie other than like Happy Death Day, where it's kind of actiony, but she's mostly dying. I want to see her survive stuff. That's, I guess, what I wanted to do. And for my Maureen Winston, I went with Kaya Gerber.
You have to fill us in. Both Sam and I got blank faces.
Yep.
Kaya Gerber is the daughter of Cindy Crawford.
Oh, okay.
She was in American Horror Story, the one season.
I know who you're talking about now, yeah.
What season?
It was, oh gosh, it's not the one with us. I think it was like 6.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to look it up again.
Trying to think if that was that hotel?
No, it was the one.
I think hotels earlier.
Yeah, or maybe it was like a different horror series by the guy who does those.
Okay, I'll have to look into that one.
Yeah, but if you're looking for super hot, she really is. She's Cindy Crawford's daughter. And then I just cast Wendy as sort of a mentor figure, not really her best friend. And I had Judy Greer because she was like the Donna Pascal, where I'd seen her everywhere. And then for my Sid, I went with Ralph Fiennes. And for my Maurice, I went with Joseph Fiennes.
You might as well cast brothers as brothers.
That was it.
All right. I kind of like that. That's funny.
And I mean, after the menu, I liked Ralph Fiennes. And I'm like, I think Joseph Fiennes can do Unhinged. It'll work. And then, well, you were talking about the grandpa. I guess I was just casting it. I wrote it down. Brian Cox as grandpa.
Sure. Why not? We all
and
love
my
Brian
director,
Cox.
exactly. And he wants to do more comedies, so this would be fun. And then the director I went with Tim Miller, who directed Deadpool.
All right. Who do I got here? Okay. For my Jake Speed, I went with John Bernthal.
Yep.
Punisher, Walking
Oh,
Dead. You
yes.
can totally
There
see
it
it.
is.
Yeah. Now I'm seeing as Remo Williams, actually.
Yeah, you know what? I had a secondary choice who also would have worked, and because we're going with the Forgotten Pulp hero, I almost want to go with Frank Grillo more because he's a little older.
Yeah.
Than, he's in his mid-50s. I mean, he looks great for his mid-50s. Oh my God.
Oh my God, right?
Right? But for a guy who's in his mid-50s and still has that physique and stuff, it might play a little closer to what we're going for. So either John Bernthal or Frank Grillo.
The nice thing is he's a pulp hero. He's ageless.
True.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, what we're getting at, too. Like, he's old, but he's still in shape, right?
Yeah. For Des, I actually made Des a female. So it's not Desmond anymore. It's Desi or whatever. And I wanted somebody who's really got a good gift for the gab and can really sell this idea of like, no, he can help you, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's going to be great for somebody who's going for ratings anyway. She's not going to want to go for the police because that might out her. I went with Emma Stone.
Nice. And actually, I like that you could have a great joke there. Her name's Destiny, but just don't you dare call me Destiny.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah. Just Des.
For Maggie, I wanted to kind of play into Megan Fox's reputation as a sex kitten. And now that we've gone the direction we're going with, I was kind of thinking the anti-version of this and trying to go away from that. But now she gets to play into the camera. Now she's basically playing the villain in this, but we don't know it right away.
Yes.
And everybody knows Megan Fox by this point, so I'm not going to tell you. Andy Serkis, we know, is Sid. For Maurice, Sid's brother, I went with Paul Anderson from Peaky Blinders. He plays Arthur on that show. So he does a good fly off the handle kind of character there. So I thought that might play well as his brother. And they're both Brits. So I don't have to cover up their awesome accents.
Exactly.
There you go.
And for Maureen Winston, the sister of Maggie, I went with Laura Vandervoort. She played Supergirl on Smallville, and I think she's in Handmaid's Tale right now.
Okay.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar.
Yeah. We covered her. She was in Rabid, the remake.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And for Grandma, instead of Pop, I went with Sally Field.
Nice. Oh, I love it. I can just see her with her stacks of Jake Steele books. Her cup of tea.
Yeah, it popped into my brain. I'm like, I love just this.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I love it so much.
Wow.
She will just steal her moments.
Yeah.
And honestly, to me, something just really wildly occurred is this could all be subtext. We don't have to write to it, where part of her motivation is that her grandma loves these action things. So she's just trying to get her attention.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible. No, actually, it actually kind of works for me because it speaks to her desire for it to be an influencer and all these views is she's seeking attention, but she's
not getting it from her family who's not taking it seriously, or at least the remaining family, because we don't notice we haven't cast the parents, and maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe they're dead. We don't need them there, and the only parental person that she respects is her grandmother.
Yeah, and her grandmother tends to lean towards Maureen because Maureen went to college and she's got a degree and she's self-sufficient. And then you have Maggie, who is aimless and all she wants is the views. And she's, I like that actually.
Yeah. It's like, want to know more? Catch me on my OnlyFans. That'd be funny if they're like going on an adventure and she's cosplaying.
What? I think she would be. Like, picturing this influencer movie, she would be wearing the khakis because of where she is. She would be setting it up. When they went out to the bar, when he's quote unquote supposed to sell her, she could have like, and I'm wearing blah, blah, blah jewelry from so-and-so.
Oh yeah, really lean into that.
Yeah. Oh, and then you could have my Des character or Emma Stone or your Des, who's ever Des character.
Yeah.
The one that exists in the world between worlds, real world and this fictional character of Jake Speed trying to keep him in the world too, because that's his cash cow. But the one that says what the audience is thinking. Yeah. So we have Maggie showing up in the outfit that the blonde wore in The Last Crusade, you know?
Or, or she's like, talking about how it's all LL Bean or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then, our Dez is just going to point that shit out.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Totally Deadpool it. Look at the camera going, this stupid woman. Right? Or something along those lines.
Has she ever been to a place with people? What's wrong with her?
Those are going to be so full of holes in about 15 minutes.
Yeah. Our Dez is going to be the one that really has the answers to everything and knows what's kind of going on, but nobody's listening.
That's right.
Oh, I had the darkest idea, though, where Dez can point it out, be like, oh, so you're taking the clothes back to where they were born, in a sweatshop down here.
That's a good joke.
Very dark. Very much my humor.
Dark. All right. Well, do we have anything to add to Jake Speed? Because, man, that came together fast.
It came together surprisingly fast. Because whether they meant it to or not, they gave us something really solid to start with.
Yeah.
And then by you sort of thinking, well, it's not going to hold up because of the fact that pulp novels aren't popular anymore, we were able to come together with something really that references the original concept, but modernizes it and allows us to bring in some modernization to it.
Well, and we brought something in that's desperately needed in the movie is character.
Yeah.
You know, characters we can kind of grab onto and understand. We've painted Maggie out to be this selfish, evil stuff, and we're going to see some of that on camera, but, you know, she's playing into a character that needs this help of Jake Speed for the views and stuff. So, I mean, as a story narrative, we're not going to see that. The hints will be there, but we're not going to see that fully come to fruition here until the end of the movie. So we're supposed to kind of like her and maybe see her play into this romance angle because it's a good story too. Yeah. You know, she wants her story. Dez wants the story to get Jake Speed back on his feet as a hero and a name.
I love the idea of the audience not knowing if Dez is writing the story or if the story is writing Dez.
Yeah.
Right. I love when movies do that, where it's like, well, which is the truth? Is Dez actually writing the story? Or is
and who's the one with the actual power then?
Yeah.
The one writing the story is Dez.
Yeah.
Not Jake Speed. Yeah. So who's manipulating who?
Exactly. Right? And I took that away from the first one even, is Dez was really moving things along.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because Dez always showed up when something needed to happen.
Yeah. That'd be fun if we could see him roll back to some control room going, and you got the drones over here. And, you know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can even go as far as supernaturalling it, where as he's writing, things are happening.
Yeah, or, you know, it's like, he's in trouble. Hit this button. Boom, a car explodes. Yeah. The bomb he planted 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Right. Or something, he's in trouble. This would be a good time for an explosion. And then something explodes.
Yeah. We're supposed to like, what is happening here? What's going on?
Yeah. I don't think you want to show anything.
I don't want it to be fully defined, but if he says something and something happens, there's like this, you know, we know there's some manipulation going on here, but that I want to be ambiguous enough that you have to figure that out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe never figure it out because.
Yeah. I mean, we're never going to fine point it.
No.
Well,
that's half the fun.
In some of the times too, what you can do, just have a little fun with it, where we could use an explosion, but it's a sequence of events that causes an explosion, like something rattles, a bottle falls off, it rolls over, messes with this, and then it causes an explosion.
Like Final Destination, but this is how the universe reacts to the statement.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
to make this happen.
Like just once.
Well, and then I kind of dig that because, you know, if we have Jake Speed walk into a bar and girls swoon and people buy him drinks, or he gets into a fight that he wins every time, that plays into that angle of the universe works for him.
Yeah. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Right. Even if people don't believe in him and he's no longer relevant, that's kind of his down and out. But the rules of Jake Speed still apply in the world.
Yeah. But Dez makes the rules.
Yes. So that he doesn't know why they happen, but Dez does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm liking that a lot. Yeah. And just really subtle. Like we talk about the rule of three all the time. You have like 2 or 3 moments where Dez says something offhand that furthers the story or gets them out of a tough situation.
Yeah. We could see him off in a corner, like maybe Jake Speed and Maggie are talking. We pull the camera back and you can still see him talking in the background, but we hear him muttering and it's like him narrating.
Yeah.
And he's kind of typing it out and saying it out loud at the same time. And
yeah, he's not paying attention. The bad guys are going to bust in any second now, and the bad guys bust in.
Yeah. You know, something a little more author-y, but yeah.
Yeah. Tension was in the room.
Yeah. No, all of Jake's attention was focused on Maggie, and then all of a sudden, boom!
The tension can be cut with a knife, and
it was.
It feels like the room just undulates, and boom! And in come the bad guys.
Yes. All of a sudden, a shot rings out, or something. Yeah, but something like that. We're not dialogue writers, and certainly not novelists.
Well, that's one of those where I need to be sitting at a keyboard and really figuring it out. But, when you do it on the fly, not so easy.
No, it's really not. But something like that where Des is setting the scene.
Yeah, Des is setting the scene and then the scene happens.
Yeah.
And you only need to do that 2 or 3 times and really quick. And then you can roll the camera back towards Maggie and Jake.
Yeah. And then things happen. He's had the setup, and then now the action's happening because the setup has been given. Yeah. Yeah, we borrowed a lot from a lot of movies, but I think it's something really original.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, the more we brought it together, I wasn't deliberately taking anything from movies, and then we kept thinking, oh, well, like this movie did.
Yeah.
And which is fine because those all played towards what we were going for anyway.
And it all plays to the theme of that original movie, which is that pulp hero 80s action
all the
film.
tropes.
Yeah, sure does. And that kind of does what Scream does. It references itself.
Yeah.
It has those rules. We have that with pulp novels too. This was very much one of those meta movies.
Yeah.
Just wasn't executed very well.
Which is a shame because conceptually, like I said at the beginning,
a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, I think it was like pre when meta was hot type of deal.
Oh, by far. Yeah. No, I mean, that clearly wasn't working until the 90s. Scream came along when slashers were dead and completely reinvigorated that genre.
Yeah. And very little comparable has come out since then either.
I mean, horror in the 90s as a whole was kind of dead.
Yeah.
And Scream really kind of brought it back. I mean, when you think about horror history, Scream was really responsible for resuscitating horror.
Yeah.
And look where we are now.
Yeah. And Japan. Mm-hmm. Japan and Scream.
Yeah. So, why can't Jake Speed be that bridge, that meta bridge to bring the action adventure movies back?
Why not? And I miss those. I mean, particularly with the new Indiana Jones movie coming out fairly soon, I think it's time to have maybe see some of these other films like that.
Yeah, maybe. Trish, it's your favorite moment.
Ah, man.
IMDb gave this a 4.9 out of 10. What do you think the Rotten Tomatoes, that really don't matter at all, but what do you think Rotten Tomatoes give it? The critics versus the fans.
Critics, 23%.
Okay.
And audience, 32.
Okay, so you got 23 and 32. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
See, and I think that critics would have seen what they were trying to do, but still wouldn't like it. So I think Trish is right around the right spot. I'm going to go 28%.
28%. Okay.
And for the audience score, that's a tougher one because I can see people loving this movie for how bad it is.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of like Miami Heat. Right?
But I can also see them getting angry, so I don't know.
Yeah. I'm going to say 35%, maybe a little more generous than Trish.
Okay. Well, both of you were just a little high, but not by much by critics. Critics were 20%, so Trish was definitely closest. But you guys are both in the pocket there. And audience score were higher than you guys gave it at 44%.
44%.
Okay.
So my instincts were right. I just didn't go high enough on my instincts. Because, I can see this being one of those movies that's so bad that people love it, like Liquid Sky and Miami Heat, where it's like it makes no sense, but I love it anyhow.
Yeah, I'd never heard of this movie until we were doing Valley Girl last week, and then I was kind of doing, what we do with the actors and looking through their filmographies and seeing what links we had, and then the trailer came up on Wayne Crawford, who wrote Valley Girl. And I'm like, well, hold on. I got to unmute this. This looks insane. And then I watched the trailer. I'm like, this is insane. I want to do this badly.
Yeah. And then after we did our podcast last week, you're like, you guys have to watch this. Okay.
Yep. It wasn't even a choice. We are doing this. And then Sam completely forgot that conversation.
Yes, I completely forgot.
He's like, Jay, you did it again. Wayne Crawford was in Valley Girl. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
And then
I said it.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. In my defense, I did graveyards and then I've been doing home improvements all week.
Yeah. So Sam is slightly here right now.
He was here enough to get the movie going. And yeah, in the end, we really kind of, I came in with 2 ideas and we didn't do either one of them.
Well, no, we used one as a catalyst to come up with a new idea.
And I like what we all came up with. So yeah, fun movie.
And we added more character. Because now we get more time with Maureen and Sid.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you bridge your action scenes, because there were no transitions other than, yep, this happens now. All right. So now we can play into that a little bit too. And we have a way to move from those scenes. If we want to ignore a character moment, that's when we break back to Des narrating.
Yeah.
And then we move on to the next sequence. And it's such a simple device to make that transition, but now it works more smoothly.
It works far more smoothly, yeah. Mm. And definitely have to get rid of the scene where Jake sells Maggie.
I would like to see her put in positions where she's not in control.
Oh, for sure. But Jen, not that one though.
No.
Right? Because Jake, again, he is a hero. He would not do something like that.
Yeah, no that's pretty reprehensible, especially for a guy who says, the villain's calling him a Boy Scout. Isn't that refreshing?
Yeah.
That was not what a Boy Scout would do.
No. And that's what sort of inspired my sort of thought process on Jake, is have him be that do-gooder, serious, square-jawed hero, right? Mm. Where he's just like, this is right and this is what we must do.
Yeah.
Right. He can even say it. This is right, and this is what we must do.
Yeah, and I would love, now that we got the social media star, just going, can you believe this guy? Oh my God, my sister's totally going to die.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's another one of those episodes where I think we've made a movie that I want to see now.
Oh, totally.
Coming into this, I'm like, this movie is not remakeable, but I think we came up with something enough that I think it is. All right, well, I think that's it for Jake Speed from 1986. That turned out to be way better than I was expecting. I mean, I did not like the movie. Let's be fair here. Yeah. I'm right there with the critics on this one. Like a 4 out of 10 is probably pretty accurate.
It was fun, but it was not good.
No, but that's what we're reaching for. Yeah. This thing that had a nugget of a good idea that we can pull on and make something a whole lot better from, because that's what should be remade, given a second chance, because there's success written in there somewhere.
Yep.
Yes.
Hollywood, stop making good movies into bad ones. We can make bad ones into good ones. Huh? Try it. Take a risk.
Yeah, and have something original. Like, I mean, when they're always remaking stuff, it's like, well, it was kind of done really good the first time. Do we need to do this again?
Yeah.
Yep.
And something like this does not have to be an expensive movie even.
No, right? That's the great thing. You can keep your budget down.
Yeah. Especially if you backlot it like they should have done.
Yeah, no kidding. $5 million for this movie. I kept thinking when I saw that number, I'm like, where was the money? Travel.
And Harv.
Harv
was pretty cool.
Harv was pretty cool looking. That was a cool looking truck.
Yeah. You don't know what Harv is? Go watch the movie.
Yeah. Harv, the locations, and John Hurt for a week.
Yeah.
However long he was there. I don't think he was there for very long. It's like, I have a week in my window from doing The Elephant Man and Alien.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of stuff he was doing back then.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. I had a week. I'd like to go to Africa.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Why not? Like, this is the script? Oh, God. Nobody's going to see it anyway.
Yeah. Right?
And I am going to have fun.
Yeah. He sure looked like he had fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
I could just imagine him going like, did the check clear? Okay, let's do this.
All right. Well, if you got a pulp hero you would like us to tackle that we haven't already, because we've done Flash Gordon, we've done Remo Williams, now we've done Jake Speed.
And Doc Savage.
Yeah.
If there's somebody we haven't done yet, maybe like The Shadow, you can let us know at Invasion Remake on Twitter, Invasion of the Remake on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And of course, you can email us your suggestions, your corrections, and your comments and fan challenges to invasionoftheRemake@gmail.com. You can also visit our website,
invasionoftheremake.wixsite.com/podcast.
and over there you'll find lots of podcatchers if you're looking to discover where to find the show or switch off somewhere or recommend to somebody. Lots of places you can listen. We got our back catalog there of every episode that you can find, and there's 31 Days of Horror lists and all sorts of cool stuff there, as well as a button that says store. And over there, just click that button, take you to our TeePublic Store, and over there you can buy t-shirts, mugs, posters, PPE masks, totes, notebooks, and so much more, with over 70 designs and more coming. Check it out. Yeah, there's always more coming.
There's always more coming.
What are you talking about? There's always more coming. We're always feeling inspired. I mean, God, we have Jake Speed now. We had a lizard lady the other day. Come on, man. Like,
that could be a t-shirt.
There's some cool stuff that we've done that are definitely going to be t-shirts, I think. So, yeah, check it out. Check back often. You never know when we're going to add something new. Get on the mailing list so you know when we post something, or you can follow us like any social media there. You can sign in, create a profile, and follow your favorite designers, including yours truly, Invasion of the Remake. And hopefully you'll get an alert when something new goes up or when a sale happens. And whatever you buy, just know it goes to supporting the show and keeping us free to you. Every single week.
Every week.
That's right. And of course, make sure you give us a 5-star rating and a short review on your podcatcher of choice, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It helps get more
earballs
on the show. All right, we're back next week with a comparison. Until then, I've been Jason.
I'm always Sam.
And I continue to be Trish.
And we are out of here.
Sid. Leave them out of this. Have fun with me.
I wouldn't dream of hurting these girls. Just a show of power. I'm a bad guy, Jake. I do anything I want. I lie. I cheat. I steal. I kill. Let's see. Have I left something out? I take great pride in never having lived up to anything. Right, Jake?
Right.